All of their eyes were closed, and their faces showed a mixture of fear and terror. One had hung from a fan, another had been found on the balcony, and another on the roof of a house. Their bodies were twisted into unnatural positions due to the weight placed on them to prevent them from falling. The only movement came from the wind stirring the air. It seemed like a case of suicide, but it was very strange because the method of killing was the same in each case. The method involved cutting off the nose, balding, then killing and hanging the body. It was unclear whether these actions were performed before or after the killing. If they were done beforehand, the victims might have had a chance to defend themselves, but no defensive evidence was found at the crime scene, leading everyone to initially label the murders as suicides. This led everyone to believe the killer must have killed every victim before committing this crime, and if they had known about the death penalty, they wouldn't have been able to do this. Even though no deaths were reported since the investigation began, many people were convinced that the murderer was still around. However, there was no way to know where the murderer resided in the city, and there was nothing anyone could do unless the murderer chose to come out of hiding, which seemed unlikely. As Arnz looked at the pictures, he suddenly halted. One of the images showed the lifeless body of a child. Arnz picked up the magnifying glass from the table and examined the picture closely. It was evident that the child had tried to write something before dying. Arnz was shocked when he noticed there were no signs of writing on the child's fingers. This meant someone had deliberately staged the scene to make it look like the child had tried to write something before dying. In reality, the killer had likely done the writing to taunt or challenge others. It had someone's name written on it, and Arnz's eyes widened in surprise as he read it. The name was faintly written and had likely been overlooked at first. Without hesitation, Arnz got up, took the picture, and hurried to the police station. He knew exactly what the killer would try next, and he wasn't going to let him get away with it. He felt he was the one who would stop this guy once and for all. Maya tried to talk to him, but he stepped out of the house hurriedly without responding to her. She sighed and turned back to the house as soon as he left. She knew how hard he worked to keep his job, so she didn't ask him why he had left. She just hoped the job went well and that Arnz would never work himself so hard again. The last time she had seen him, he had looked tired and sad. He drove fast, almost recklessly, trying to get there quickly to find a solution to his problems. After a few minutes, he pulled over near the police station. At night, the police station looked much better than ever. There were even lights surrounding the whole building, casting shadows everywhere. It gave a warm vibe that made everything more inviting. He parked the car near the main entrance and entered the building. "Sir, at this hour?" David, who had finished his shift, was surprised to see Arnz at the police station at 7 p.m. "Open the locker," Arnz said urgently. "What?" David replied, bewildered. "Katakabuka locker. I said open the locker." Rex, who had been sleeping calmly in the locker, sat up abruptly. He had never seen Arnz so agitated before. Usually Arnz was calm, patient, and collected, but today he seemed angry, which worried Rex. David opened the locker, and Arnz entered hastily. After searching for some time, he sat on the bed beside Rex. His face was pale. He grabbed his head and started sweating profusely. Arnz placed the picture on the bed in front of Rex. Rex looked at the picture and asked, "What do I do?" "Look at it carefully," Arnz said, picking up the picture and holding it in front of Rex's eyes. Rex took the picture from Arnz's hand, gave him a glance from head to toe, and then focused intently on the image. "Yeah," Rex finally responded. "Have you looked at it carefully?" Arnz asked again. "Yes," Rex nodded. He continued staring at the photograph and frowned. "What am I supposed to say?" "Look carefully at what it says," Arnz urged. "Raya?" "So?" Rex replied, still puzzled. "And who is Raya?" Arnz asked. "It could be anyone," Rex said, trying to make sense of it. "But here, Raya is only one person, your wife, Raya," Arnz explained. "What do you mean?" Rex demanded, grabbing Arnz by the collar. "That's what you need to understand," Arnz said, straightening his collar. "No, I don't understand anything." "Explain it to me," Rex demanded, his frustration evident. "Look, Rex, listen to me carefully this time, and then you can make your own decision." Rex stepped back slightly but continued to glare at Arnz. "Raya went missing a month ago. We both searched for her everywhere, but she had just vanished along with her car. No one knew whether she had been swallowed by the earth or taken by the sky." Arnz paused for a minute and sighed deeply. There had been no records of anyone fitting the description that we knew about. We also hadn't heard from anyone matching her appearance and personality, which made us think she had been abducted. "So?" Rex interrupted impatiently. "And you had been imprisoned because of it," Arnz continued. "The case had become high profile due to media coverage. Obviously, if someone disappears in front of your eyes in a matter of seconds, it attracts a lot of attention. Now, a month later, Raya's name surfaced for the first time. Anyone in your position would understand that. I'm grateful the case came to me, otherwise what? Rex interrupted, his anger rising. Speak openly if you're going to. I want to know how you plan to blame Raya for these murders, Rex demanded. I'm not going to blame Raya, Arnz stated calmly. That's exactly why I came here. Rex's eyebrows rose questioningly, and he waited for further explanation. You didn't understand my point, Arnz explained. I meant that if this case had gone to someone else, they would have reopened the investigation from a month ago, and your injuries would have been brought up again. But since I have the case, I can involve you in the investigation without the same complications. As for getting out of jail, I can apply to the court for your bail. This would allow you to help solve the case and find Raya because you are the best detective for this. You've set amazing records. He paused for a while and then added, staying in jail won't help you or bring Raya back. Consider my offer with a calm and clear mind, Arnz advised, placing a reassuring hand on Rex's shoulder. Rex looked into Arnz's eyes for a second and then relaxed slightly. Although he still wasn't entirely convinced, he knew that Arnz couldn't possibly lie to him, and there wasn't any proof either. He looked back down at the picture, his expression still serious but his tone softening. All he could do at this point was continue working on the case and see if he could figure something out. For now, he decided to take Arnz's advice and focus on solving the mystery instead of thinking about himself. He was going to put all his effort into finding Raya, especially after receiving such news from Arnz. If the murderer wanted to cause trouble in his life, he'd just have to deal with it, and the sooner the better. He would show him what happened when someone messed with the law. He was ready to devote himself fully to finding Raya's kidnapper and bringing him to justice. Arnz took the picture and left the police station with a renewed sense of hope. He knew what Rex was going to do and he was going to help him, no matter what it might cost him. That thought comforted him even more. When Arnz arrived home, he found the door wide open, and Maya was sitting at the kitchen table, looking distraught. She hadn't noticed Arnz and was so busy crying that she hadn't realized he had returned. Arnz approached her quietly and put his arm around her waist in a comforting manner. Rex has agreed to take on the case, Arnz confirmed with a steady tone. Maya looked at him and wiped her tears. A smile appeared on her beautiful face, giving him relief. Really? Oh God. That's wonderful. Maya exclaimed with joy. He felt her hug him tightly and then kiss his cheek. Arnz smiled softly and patted her back. They stayed like that for a bit until Arnz spoke again. Get the table ready, Maya? I'm famished, he requested. She laughed softly and replied, all right, let's eat. He placed the picture on the table and went to freshen up. Maya glanced at the clock. It was now 9 p.m. She signaled her maid to get the table ready for dinner and then turned her attention to the picture on the table. As she looked at the picture, Maya covered her face with a cloth, as if the smell of the dead body in the image was wafting through the air. She was also startled to see Raya's name written on the picture. Suddenly, she felt guilty as if the kidnapping of Raya was somehow her fault. After all, Raya had disappeared from their lives completely, leaving them in despair. Now, after all they had been through together, she wasn't coming back anymore. Maya looked away and stood up, wiping her tears away with her handkerchief. After freshening up, Arnz came to the dining table. What happened? You look shocked too, he remarked, noticing the fluctuations in Maya's expression. At first I didn't believe it either. I still can't believe that our Raya could kill anyone. But the name must have enticed Rex to work on the case, he added. So, will Rex help now? Maya asked, placing the photo to the side. Hope so, he shrugged. Arnz laughed softly and added, let's just say Rex's involvement might be the breakthrough we need. His expertise could be crucial in unraveling this mystery. They enjoyed the dinner in silence. After they finished eating, Maya took the empty dishes away and washed them while Arnz dried them in the sink as their maid left early. He carried the dishcloth back to where it belonged and placed it on top of a cupboard. Then he came back into the living room, sat down on the sofa and turned on the TV. He didn't find anything interesting, so he switched off the television and looked at the ceiling, thinking. Maya watched him silently with some concern. She knew he had come back from work and was deep in thought. She walked over to him and leaned against him while wrapping her arms around his waist. Are you okay? She asked, looking worried. I'm fine, he answered. I'm worried about Rex though. Why? She wondered. I just wonder if this is a smart thing to do, he said, running a hand slowly through her hair. I don't know how well this will pan out for him. There was nothing he could do to change it anyway. He got caught. It's probably just a coincidence that Raya's name appeared today, but isn't it strange that Raya disappeared just when she was starting to feel hopeful? Maya wondered, frowning. I think it might be connected with what happened to our parents, she added. We both know Raya never did anything bad. And I remember when our parents died, Rex had said something about a family curse. She paused for a moment. I'm pretty sure she was murdered, Maya declared seriously. Arnz cast her a skeptical glance and then shook his head, clearly unconvinced. Don't jump to conclusions yet, he warned. Maybe she simply ran away or was kidnapped. Maybe she's hiding somewhere safe, waiting for the right time to come back. Well, at least we can always count on Rex's loyalty. He wouldn't leave Raya even after knowing about the curse, Maya replied with a slight smile. Arnz chuckled softly and kissed her on the forehead. I suppose we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, he said with a reassuring smile. For now, let's focus on other things. We should forget about this problem for the night and get some rest. Tomorrow will be a long day, he added, stifling a yawn as he headed to their room. Yeah, good night, she replied softly, her faint smile lingering as she watched him go. But she didn't move an inch. Her eyes were filled with worry and guilt. Her mind wandered to the pictures taken a month ago. At first, she thought Raya's absence was connected to the kidnapping, but she hadn't considered their family curse. She shook her head and took a deep breath. Even if she did, no one would believe her anyway.